This video is all about strange loops. How Strange's 3 phrase loopers capture, fire, permute and interweave fragments of melody into coherent musical phrases. To make it really obvious what's going on, let's start an external clock and a simple hi-hat pattern counting in 4. We'll add a little bit of additional rhythmic interest by dialing in some decay and sustain on the tregs and some portamento. We'll dial in a scale. Here's the diatonic set, and we'll modally rotate that to the Phrygian mode, and we'll add a pre-composed bass line for harmonic context. To make the loops really obvious, we'll put it into rhythm mode so the tregs only fire when the quantizer note changes. We start in Strange's standard generative mode. Rho walks up and down the scale, while Delta applies the standard or alternating random walk. Looping in Strange is very performance orientated, with the loop captured for as long as you hold the button combination. There are 3 loop locations, X, Y and Z. We'll start by capturing X, and 1, 2, 3, 4. With the joystick vertical, loop stays where it is, but Rho and Delta now apply their effects to the loop. We call X, Y and Z phrase loops because you can treat them as melodic motifs with Rho and Delta. Or you can just as easily have them as static EDM-style loops by leaving Rho and Delta at 0. Just as Rho walks the loop up or down the scale, Delta randomly shifts it by determining its starting position, again with the random walk or the alternating walk. As with Strange's normal generative operation, Rho and Delta are recursive, so for example, positive Rho means the loop will continue to climb on each repetition. If you just want to shift it, simply 0 the joystick and move center. Now the loop stays exactly where you put it. You can set how likely the 3 phrase loops are to fire relative to each other and normal generative operation, and as soon as you capture a loop, it defaults to 100% and plays immediately. And to switch it off, I just set it to 0% by holding B and turning down X. An important aspect of Strange's 3 phrase loopers is that they are each unique, so we're going to 0 the tregs and portamento to explore this. We'll capture X again. Keep an eye on the tregs in the blue trace on the oscilloscope. No decay or sustain. I dial some in, as well as some portamento on the green trace, but nothing changes. The X loop stays fixed. Drop them all back to 0, and set the loop back to 0 probability, taking us back to generative play. Now, instead of X, I capture loop Y. The scope traces are still showing no decay, sustain or portamento, just as it was when we captured the loop from generative play. Except now when I dial some in, it starts to apply. Loop X captures and fixes everything in its loop: melodic contour, tregs and portamento. Loop Y only fixes the contour, and that means you can apply and change its tregs and portamento on the fly, in performance, after capture. X, Y and Z capture any changes to Rho and Delta, so you can also loop a joystick performance. The 3rd phrase loop, Z, is slightly different again. Like Y, it doesn't fix tregs or portamento. However, the way it treats Delta is quite unique. Delta applied to X and Y moves the whole loop up and down with the random walk. Delta applied to Z live remixes it, overwriting random variations into the loop. Listen to how, with each application of Delta to Z, the repeating pattern morphs and evolves. The value of this in more EDM and techno settings particularly should be obvious. You just leave a Z loop running with a little delta and it spontaneously recomposes itself, leaving you free to attend to another sequence or prepare a transition. We said before that you can set the probability each phrase loop will play, so let's set about 50% for each. That means it's about even whether a loop will play compared to normal melody, and within that, which. There's our Z. There's the joystick performance we captured in X. And the half-bar motif we captured in Y. Now we're going to look at loop length and direction, so let's remove the loops and return to fully generative operation one last time to capture a longer phrase into X. While short holding controls loop probability, long holding B until it flashes causes X, Y and Z pots to control X, Y and Z's length and direction. Noon is one event only, with increasing clockwise movement extending to the full length of the loop at capture. Anti-clockwise then plays the loop backwards, or retrograde, again increasing one event at a time as the pot is turned. One more Easter egg. Rinsing the control fully clockwise plays random lengths on each repetition. Glitch play. Full anti-clockwise even does the same in both directions. Finally, you can interloop. Capture the output of one phrase loop into another while Strange is varying it. Just capture into a different loop to the one that's playing. With a little practice, not only can you capture loops single-handedly, you can also control their probability and alter their features. With Strange taking care of generative melody, 3 captured phrase loops you've set up, treg articulation, portamento, and loop glitching, you have a reactive performance jam buddy under one hand and the rest of your mix under the other.